Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Win the Hour, Win the Day. I am your host, Chris Ward, and I am super excited to have Nina Froriep on the show. She is going to talk to us about video, but listen, it's going to be so much more than that. Nina has seen it all from the early 90s on independent features to big national TV commercials, corporate mega shows. I mean, she's been there, done that. Emmy Award winning documentaries, films. I mean, the list goes on and on. Now, she is super excited to share an enabled, mission-driven, whole platform, which she wants us entrepreneurs to follow, really about being consistent and easy to implement videos. Welcome to the show, Nina.
Thank you so much, Chris, for having me. Super excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so let's just start from the top, Nina. What do you see, us doing out there that just is working against us? What do we not know? You never know what you don't know. What do we not know about video?
The famous blind spots. Yes, love talking about those. Video is such a big topic because it's comprised of so many moving parts. So for me to share with you all the things that do drive me nuts or that drive me mildly nuts or that I wish I could fix with a magic wand is very long and will go beyond the scope of what we're doing here. But I would say, what really drives me absolutely mad and why I do what I do is when people spend a shit ton load of money on videos that they could be shooting themselves super easily with their phones. Drives me nuts when I talk to people and the first thing out of their mouth is, what camera should I buy? And my reaction is always like, it doesn't matter what camera you have. It's what you do with it. And again, our smartphones, our laptops, our desktops very often even are way good enough for the purpose for which we need video for our companies, which is mostly to stand out, to establish our thought leadership, to be a mensch, a person at the other end that people can connect with and hopefully will buy from. And for that, it does not take a lot. You need to know how, but it has nothing to do with a lot of money or even a lot of time.
Okay, so it's like you have to be a good painter. It's not about the paintbrushes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So can I pick on these people for a second? If you're out there listening and this is you, I guess what I wonder is in this day and age with all the commercials you see of, oh, this person shot this, music video with this, all the phone companies out there saying, look, they shot this commercial with this phone and blah, blah, blah. Is that just not a little bit of a glorified distraction? So look, I then have to get set up and learn how to set it up and I'm just moving further away from the goal. Like, can you really not believe at this point in time that if you've got a modern day phone, you can do it?
Yeah, I mean, when they say, like, I remember when, who was it, Rodriguez, who shot the first feature with an iPhone, right? And it's like, yeah, but you should have seen the freaking setup. I mean, that poor little iPhone was strapped into like these ginormous rigs, and there were still the big lamps everywhere. And I remember when Gary Vee came out and was like, oh my God, live is the thing, and you just stand in front of the camera and you talk. And I was looking at one of his first lives, and there was a reflection, and it was like 5 people standing there. I could see that in the reflect. I mean, I knew what I was looking for. I'm like, that is a big ass production,
Right.
So it really is what you do with it. And again, if we're creating videos for our businesses, these videos, unless you're planning on having it, in a duplex, like, on the big, huge screen, it's such an intimate relationship that the consumer who will watch these videos has with your video. It's in the palm of their hands 80% of the time. And the other 20% or 19.5%, it's on your laptop or screen on your computer. So whatever your phone is producing, and I'm not talking about 4K footage, by the way, I'm talking about the regular, normal format is plenty, and all the social media platforms dumb that footage even further down to even a lower resolution. So there's just no need for all this fancy stuff unless you're like a car racer or something really weird. I mean, not that car races are weird, but
Yeah, no, I understood. High-end production. So that was interesting because I know right before what I like to do before we start the show is we take a selfie. And you said, "Oh, that's interesting, taking a selfie before we shoot the show." And what I said to you was, "Yeah, we used to have this graphic up there, and we really noticed it when we had Kevin Harrington on the show. And he's a big name, Shark Tank, one of the original Shark Tank. And we saw a big difference when we had the graphic with him on it, and then we had a selfie with me and him on it. And the numbers went way up as far as the algorithm and the attention we got from the selfie. So what I learned was, oh my gosh, we're making all these efforts to process something, make it look polished, and it just wasn't getting the attraction that a raw image was getting. So obviously that translates to video as well, because the overproduction part, I really think distance stuff. It distance you from the consumer.
I mean, with the Shark Tank character, one quick thought on that: people could have thought it would have been photoshopped, right? But having the selfie made it actually real. But I think you're talking about something really important. You don't want to be too polished. Like my videos, they look pretty good because it's my profession. I need to show up looking good, but I still have this reflection issue with the pandemic. I haven't been able to deal with this the way I would have liked to, which is
talking about, let me just clarify for those listening, she's talking about reflection in her glasses.
These like, so I'm seeing myself basically in the computer. So, a coating on the glasses would take care of that. The optician is closed. So scratch that. But
she's not getting stuck on the fine. Okay. So let's pause for a moment for education here. This is what she does for a living. So she's going to see all these things because she came from a high production background. We do not. What we're trying to do is have a meaningful interaction with someone so that they can develop this whole know, like, and trust us. And when somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, if you're having a one-on-one interaction with them in real life, they're not shaking your hand and looking at your glasses saying, "Oh, I see reflection, so I'm not listening to what you say." It's not how it goes. So I think your message, Nina, is like, look, remember what the goal is, right?
Yeah, and I think, well, with the glasses, and I'm going to take them off now because now I'm so super self-conscious about it, is people can't see your eyes, so that actually is an issue. But people buy from people, and for me, the biggest compliment is when I get on a Zoom call with somebody who has been following me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my social media poison. That's where I live. And somebody like gets on the phone on Zoom with me and says, like, "Oh my God, you're just like your videos." If you get that, then you've done your job well, because you don't want to be some souped up version of yourself. You want to be that person that prospect or the lead or the potential client or the client has been watching on video. Because it's like imagine you're going on one of those dating sites and the guy, in my case, looks amazing, blah 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 blah, age appropriate, everything, and then you go for the actual physical date, and somebody 30 years your senior shows up who has 50 pounds more on the frame than what they had in the photo. That's not cool. And it's the same thing with the videos. How we show up is how we want to show up every day. And in order to show up every day, you need to be able to maintain it, right? Because otherwise it's going to be way too much work to stay consistent. And that is sort of the most important thing, is to be consistent with your video marketing.
Okay, so the lesson here, it's a good one. The lesson here is when we think, and we've all fallen prey to this, when we think, look, shoulders back, stand up tall, I'm trying to be a grown up professional here, so I'm going to present myself to the world. What you're saying, that presentation is not how you're going to show up in a one-on-one. And that's the goal, is to have these people connect with you and do business with you. So it's a false advertisement as well as inconsistency. So then when they show up, you're starting a relationship over anyhow, because you're not like you presented.
Yeah.
And it's not that it's a bad thing, because we've all done that. You just think, oh, here's a version of me, and I'm trying to give you the best version of me. But it's not the version that's really going to make a connection. Because really, when done well, I find video, then we meet that person, and it's like you're on a third date. Like there's already a relationship there.
Yep. Okay. And I think there might be, I always distinguish between tissue videos and legacy videos. And don't Google this. I came up with that. Okay. So a tissue video for me is a video that I shoot quick, down and dirty, that goes onto my social media feed. It's a video I might only use once. Maybe I'll recycle it at some point. But it's a video where I'm giving a tip. I'm giving a quick insight into something, and I am connecting with my people. If I do here, this is who I am, this is my backstory on my website, I might produce that a little more. I might, have that shot by a professional videographer. I might go out a little further, have that also produced, have it edited professionally. So there are videos and videos, right? And so the tissue videos for me, and at this point, I'm only doing tissue videos because it's just the content changes all the time. So I'd rather do more often and regularly, refresh my videos to reflect new thoughts, new services, new learnings, than to have those 2 or 3 videos that keep rotating through that become old and stale and out of date.
Okay, so you call it tissue because it's like one and throw away, like you use it
Yep.
and throw it away.
Close
Okay.
it, throw it. Yep.
And I think you're right, because I know I've heard people complain, like, let's say a show that now is outdated, like Friends or the Gilmore Girls or something, and they come back on Netflix and they're having this surge of popularity. And I heard somebody in an interview saying it pained them, the amount of work they put into the production and the lighting, and that people are watching it on phones and tablets, right? And so we're all running around trying to think that the production is the deal. But even those who had the budget, it gets lost in the shrinkage of the intimacy of the phone, is what you're saying.
I think for us, yes. I mean, I still, even if it's on a smaller screen, will enjoy a well-produced and well put together show. But I think in terms of what you and I are producing to grow our businesses, focus on the content, focus on your strategy, focus on a rock solid call to action that gets people to engage with you in a natural way, rather than fiddling around with lights and camera and all that stuff.
Okay, kind of like when you're in school and you're like in grade 8 and you're like, oh, look at me, I'm working on the title page. Doesn't this look nice? We should be focused on the content, people. We'll do the title page later, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now I know for you, consistency is an issue. Consistency matters. Talk to us about what that means to you.
So to me, what it means is that if you're putting out a video every once in the blue moon, or you're putting video out sort of one here, one there, even if it adds up to being 4 times a month, let's say, or 8 times a month, but you do none for 2 weeks and then you do one, it doesn't attract a crowd, right? You want to have what I call bingeable content. And, I'm not talking as in Netflix, but I'm talking as in something that is consistent, timely, and educational. At least one of these 3, if not all 3, and then putting it out like every Tuesday, every Thursday, or I put out video nearly every day, 10 a.m. And that is my consistency. And that is what gets me clients. What it does is my clients might not always be on LinkedIn at 10:10 or at 5 p.m. or whatever. But if they have their routine and I have a routine, I will show up for them consistently. And if I show up consistently, I'm top of mind. And I'd rather have you post only 2 videos a week or 1 video a week if you have a long sales cycle. That's super appropriate. But do it every single week, because that's how you get people to engage with you and show interest, rather than sort of a little here, a little there, and nothing really.
Okay, so we need to be consistent, and consistent has to be also on somewhat of a regular basis. You can't consistently do a video once a month. So it's about consistency. And I think that's a really powerful distinction. If they have their routine and you have a routine, then that makes them for a good match. Okay.
Yep.
Consistency is important. Don't look for shiny distractions. Don't make up all these reasons why, once you get everything ordered from Amazon, you run around, you do all this, you do all that, and then you start the production thing. That's just moving away from the target. Get yourself out there and just let people know who you are. So these are some really basic guidelines. What's another that you think we make more complicated than we need to?
The content. So, I mean, I think that sort of what comes first to mind. So my preaching is 1 video, 1 topic. So people are getting much better with this, by the way. But I always tell people, think in terms of putting together a series. So maybe you have a really nice lead magnet with your top 10 tips, your top 15 tips, your top 6 tips, whatever it is. create a video for each of these tips. Not
Mm.
only does that allow you to get your lead magnet out and have a great call to action at the end of every video to have people download your lead magnet, um, it also takes a lead magnet and now it has 6 completely or 10 completely different ways of you advertising it and giving value at the same time.
Okay, that makes sense. So would you, in that case, am I overthinking it? Because I call this pulling a Chris. Now, because I am organized and sometimes I turn things into systems, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. It's what I do, but sometimes you can't over systematize. So what I would say to you is, okay, we got 6 points and this lead magnet of 6 things when you're onboarding a new team member.
Right.
Would I every day now say that, let them know it's a series for this week, we're going to cover that every day, or don't overthink it and just put it out?
I think there is something about because we're talking about consistency. So in your case, not knowing what the rest of your marketing is, but knowing that you're putting out quite a bit, I would say make that your on, a tip series. And when you're done with one, you start the next one. And you always do that on, tip Tuesday, tip Thursday. Tuesday sounds better, alliteration. You know what I mean? So, and then you put them also onto YouTube, onto Vimeo, you make a playlist or a showcase. And now you also have a place where you can send the client and say, hey, here's a tip series on X. But I would, unless, and again, it depends a little bit. If you have a really short sales cycle, like for instance, I do challenges every once in a while. They go a month long. They're very inexpensive. I will just go massive in. And for, 10 days, I talk about nothing else but filling this cohort. Filling this challenge. But then I have the cohort, which is a much longer sales cycle. So with that, I will not spam people for 6 weeks to fill it. I'll put out 1 or 2 things a week where I gently will mention, oh, by the way, we can help you with this problem, blah. So if you have a really short sales cycle, then you're going to be much more aggressive with your content than when you have a couple of months or a couple of weeks sales cycle.
Yeah, we do that with the outsourcing playbook for busy entrepreneurs. Whenever we do a launch, all of a sudden it's like, it's all we're going to talk about the next weeks because you have to, right? So
and then you can shoot, 10 videos all on the same topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find in this day and age, I mean, we're talking about video, and yet as you speak, there are things that I'm like, I knew that. I forgot I knew that. That's the big thing I say, I knew that, but I forgot I knew it. So I think, I'd like to argue that some of this stuff, I don't want to say is common sense, but we should have been told by now because video has been like being pushed and pushed and pushed. But yet there's you can go down the rabbit hole really quickly and all of a sudden get lost or forget or overthink it or whatever, right? So, at this point of the game, shouldn't we all know better by now, or we just get busy and we forget?
I think there's still a lot of people out there who are nervous about video. I think the biggest thing, and this was a huge surprise for me, I run up against is people who are so stuck in their perfectionism. They're so stuck in comparing themselves to others. They're so stuck in they hate seeing themselves or hearing themselves. That if they can't even shoot video, or if they shoot video, they sit on them and they never post them. And interesting enough, that is actually the biggest consistency is a challenge too. But the biggest challenge I'm facing with clients is that there's just people who are really nervous about being out there. And for those who do it, they mostly they catch on really quickly, I find.
Okay, that's really interesting because that was never, I shouldn't say never my issue. I had a really hard time I was fine if you invited me to a speaking gig, I was fine being on stage, but I struggled with video on social media because I felt like as people were walking by, I was like tugging them on their sleeve, right? So that was always a little bit more difficult. So that let's dive deeper there for a moment, because that is really important. One of the things I did in the beginning, because listen, I don't care who you are, at whatever point in the journey, you want to be taller, thinner, longer hair, thicker hair, something, right? More hair, whatever, right? There's some nicer teeth, whatever. We all have stuff. We look at our face too often. And what I did in the beginning is if I shot videos, they were given to my team to put up. So they were done. And and so that I couldn't get caught up in my own vanity. or that I didn't like my last haircut, right? It's like, okay,
Mhm.
whatever. Now, if they circle that around again and they go to put it on a web page that I didn't like that video to begin with, I'm like, no, that is what Nina calls a tissue video. It's gone. Do not use it again. My hair has grown. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But for me, that really helped is if you just don't get caught up on it, because the reality is, here's the thing. People, you have to think about this. If somebody called you and said, could you come to my office on Friday and meet with me? I would think we really want to do some business with you, and we have this big project we want your help with. You wouldn't say to them, I don't like my last haircut. I'm going to wait till it grows out, and see if you can reschedule that meeting. Right? You wouldn't do that. So then what are you doing holding up on the video? Oh, I just need to lose some weight. I just need to do this and that, whatever. Right? My bald head is shiny, whatever. It's not the point. You're not, that, listen, make more money and then try to fix what you don't like, whatever. Right? So I think that's a really good point. I forget that sometimes, that people are still struggling with, I don't like the sound of my voice or how I present or all this stuff. So just get stuff done and get it out there.
Yep. Yeah. And it's easier said than done. But
that's fine. But we can cheer them on. We can encourage you, right?
Yes. And that's why I love working in groups with people, because then everybody sort of sits in the same pain point. And those who are already doing video or feel more comfortable with it can sort of help shepherd the others along. And that's one of the big reasons why I love groups, because it's not only about helping with consistency and accountability and giving, but it's also about giving support and sort of all sitting in the same boat. And, believe me, when I shot my first videos for my own company, I never in my life thought I'd be in front of the camera. I ran to this next beauty parlor, got myself a 10-pack facial. I'd never had a facial in my life. And, and I was 50 and I was like, holy shit, now I have to be in front of the camera. Really? Now? Why not 20 years ago? But, you get over it. You get over it. I knew I was over it a couple of months ago. I was editing myself and I laughed at myself and I smiled at myself and I'm like, okay, good. We're good now. I have learned to see the Nina that is the camera Nina and not me, with all my,
And that's a really good point, Nina, because the other thing I would say to you is, you can't get better at it until you do it. Like, no matter what you do, I don't care who you are. We've all heard stories about Michael Jordan didn't make the basketball team in high school. Like, you have to be bad at it to get good at it. And maybe when you're bad at it, like you're really bad at it, or maybe you're less bad at it than somebody else, whatever, but there is progress, and you can't accomplish anything until you start going through the progress. And then also you get worn down when you see yourself, you're like, okay, I don't care anymore. I remember in the beginning, it was a little bit like, I felt like when the Hulk, when he made the transformation from Bruce Banner to his body changed, and in front of this video, having to talk. And I think for me, it was learning to speak to people, one person, instead of presenting to many. So that way it was more natural. But if you just get it, you'll get better at it. So just do it. That's the big lesson from Nina. Be consistent, get it out, just do it. And you'll be desensitized, but more than being desensitized, you'll get better and better at it.
Yep. Yeah. And that only comes with practice. And, when I have people in my group, some of them, they post privately. They never put it on social media. They'll put it on, we operate through Slack. They'll put it on Slack, or they'll put it unlisted on YouTube so we can give feedback. And when they're ready, then they'll post. So sometimes, you just need sort of a little bit of a warm up period. But if you're not going to do it, then it just becomes a would have, should have, could have in your head. And that never goes anywhere.
Well, I would tell you guys, doing it, what happens with the exciting part about doing it, when you do start to get feedback, and somebody sent me a message in LinkedIn, and I thought it was really profound. And she said something like, I've been watching your videos for a long time. She's never commented or anything, right? And she said to me, keep it up. You never know who's watching and how much you're helping. And I was like, oh, I should write, that should be on my wall, right? Yeah. And it was just like, oh, so she sent me this private message. Even then, she didn't like it or comment or anything. Never knew who she was. And she just said, you never know who's watching and how much you're helping. And like, oh, all right, thank you. So it really does make a difference. So, it's important, the work you do, because really you could talk all day about videos, but it's where it's at.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think looking at it, I think you're bringing up a really important point is, coming from a point of service and coming from a point of helping others, maybe takes a little bit away the sense of being exhibitionist or being me, and just saying like, okay, I'm here to service and make sure that people don't spend shit ton loads of money on something they don't have to spend money on. And that is what I can bring to the world or to small business owners like myself. And I think that is, if you come from a place of helping, then it also, for me, it shifted my entire way how I'm showing up, because I'm not in a sales conversation. I'm helping.
Right. That's a good point. All right, Nina, I will ask people where they can find you, but I know a great place to start is on LinkedIn because you do a spectacular uh, series and interviews and videos there. So it's well worth your time to check Nina out on LinkedIn. Is
Mhm.
there anything else you want to tell us, or that would solve all their problems following your
I
book?
think LinkedIn is just a great place. Please, send me a connection invite, mention Chris's podcast or vlogcast, I should say, since we're on video. And I'll be sure to connect with you and hit me up with any questions you have. I'm always happy to help.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Nina. We appreciate you. And guys, to the next show. We'll see you then.